Menzi Maseko for Ikhambi Natural Healing. This is a special broadcast of the Sunday healing session, which is being pre-recorded and will present it to you tomorrow on the 21st of Inyanga Kandasa, or the 21st of March, which is the date of the first day after the vernal equinox, and the last day of the Neter we call Geb, or the Earth Father. So we are continuing, it's a closing session where we are speaking about Geb in our personal, how do I put it? Our own personal impressions about the meaning of the Neter, or the divine principle we call Geb, who is all about foundations, harvest, hard work, smart work, creativity, and boldly going towards whatever creative endeavor that you want to start. Geb is all about supporting that. It's the energy of the earth that supports that. Whether you have family feuds that you want to resolve, the time of Geb, this season is the season for resolving those. Whether you have work things that you want to resolve and things that you want to start and enact, this is the season for that. You call upon the Earth Father, which is within you, the energy which is in the earth, and the energy guides you towards fulfilling that with a greater purpose and with greater sense of vision and attainment. So yes, I'm with my sisters, Nelly, Xaba, Nelisiwe, Xaba, Nkosi, and we have Nelly, Nkosi, Umadlamini. Please greet the people, my people.
Greetings, everybody. Oh, can you? No. Okay, yes, now I'm fine. Greetings, everybody. Nelisiwe, Xaba. Thank you so much for joining us on the special edition of Geb. We really felt it in our hearts that we needed to have a session where we kind of bring everything together and close it out. Being that, as Menzi has mentioned, it really is about the earth energy and how we have navigated and experienced the season. So we'll all be recounting briefly that. Yes. I'll hand over to Nkosi.
Greetings, everybody. Yes, I really cannot reiterate what Menzi and Xaba just said, but I'm not going to reiterate rather, but I am in complete agreement in terms of everything that they've just shared, so this season for me, you know, when I think about the season, it's the grounding, you know. It's like the grounding season is when you do most of your grounding work, you know, and this are some of the things that I'm going to share with you in terms of what that entails. Yeah.
Yes, grounding is very, very important. One of our great teachers, Ura Unefe Amen of the Oset Society, said that it is important to not just master the knowledge and the energy of Geb within yourself. It is important to understand that as the foundation principle, if you do not have the discipline to understand what Geb is all about, forget about trying to understand about Oset or trying to work with Oset, because it's like you shouldn't start things in the middle. Start things at the beginning so that uzonyuka nazo, wazi ukuthi zisukaphi, know the root so that you can come up. You know, one of the important things about Geb is that he is the father of some of the greatest. He is known as the father in the great magical mythology of Africa. He is the father of the gods. Sometimes he is looked at as Upta or Pata, which is another name for father, which the Romans took and they said Pata or Pater Nostra, whatever. It means the father, right? The Holy Father. So Geb is the original Holy Father, the father of Osar, the god of the gods. You know, so the god of the gods has a father, and that father's name is Geb. So if you do not master that, which has to do with your diet, you have to have a good diet. It has to do with your physical health. You have to maintain good physical health. You have to also maintain what do you call it? It's a diet, it's a nutrition, but it's got to do with the kind of food that you eat. So it's very important to understand GAP from that level. You have to set that foundation before you try and move up higher up the tree of life.
You know, it's very interesting, Menzi, that you would say that forget about knowing all the other nettles if you do not understand. Like you are starting izinto from the middle. What's interesting is that during the season of a gap is the best time. It's one of the most appropriate time for you to actually work on your root chakra. And the root chakra, one of the things that you actually need to understand about the root chakra is that that's where you need to start to do the work. If you haven't gotten the root chakra right, you will struggle with all the other chakras. And it's very, very interesting that you would say that. And partly it's because it's linked to all one of the causes of misalignment is traumas. So can you imagine aligning your sacral chakra while you haven't dealt with your primal chakra? What's this primal traumas? Yeah.
Yeah, it's very important. Primary, you can't go to high school until you go through primary.
And I think also to add on to that. Okay, and I think also just to add on to that, Gab for me always represents the human because he is like the earth father. So therefore it becomes your physical body also becomes really important for you to take care of. This is also a good season to go and get all your health checks and make sure that your body is strong. And if there is anything, you actually are able to start working on removing this dis-ease that could be there while the energy is feeding to help healing, because that's what he's also really about, your health and making sure that you get on top of that and also making sure that you get healing for that.
What is beautiful also about these our sacred African energies, you know, there's what we call the neteru, is that they are all interrelated. Imagine trying to dance like heteru, yet you haven't dealt with basically your physical health. Imagine trying to be like Osset and heal everybody and try to resurrect everybody, but then when are yourself, you still need so much help. Yes, we understand we must be gentle with ourselves. It is no one is really perfect. I don't even think that in our school of thought we are seeking perfection per se, but we are seeking a equilibrium, balance, you know, health, well-being, you know, so that as we speak and work on healing other people who need help, maybe someone may need more help than me, it is important to be constantly working on ourselves. So I like the interrelationship between all the neteru. But just I have to raise this part. I was just thinking today, while I was recording something else for some other people, and I'm sitting there thinking, Lelkama Eliti Simagate is a very good name for Gab. Imagine, I only think about this at the last day of Gab. Simagate. Simagate is similar to Timfun, which is basically, it's the word that stands for the sacred tree, according to the stories told by Perumoto. Simagate is, the word itself says that stands for forever, that stands for eternity. Sima, so isihlahla noma umuthi othize esimagade. So that tree can be rooted and stand for so long because it is healthy. If the roots are eaten by termites and all those things, the tree will not stand for long. So you need to know what is the medicine to treat the termites. If it's been hit by lightning, what is the right thing to do to graft the tree, maybe go and plant it somewhere else? If you take that tree that's standing there and plant part of it somewhere else, it's still the same tree. So Simagad, and it's us.
That is so profound. That is so profound.
Yeah,
wow.
Zulu.
And I can actually relate that to us, not to see, but what's this, us as people, you know, when you're referring to, when you're saying planting of the trees, I can very see that very well in terms of our ancestral tree, the generations that came and those that walked before us, you know. Interesting analogy.
Yeah.
And I guess also about thinking about it today, I just want to say reflections are eternal. So we're always going to be figuring out new things as we also navigate the seasons with more knowledge. Like each year, we are going to be connecting something that we didn't see before. So it's always good to have this open sharing space where we can just reflect lightly about everything and share our experience on it.
Yes. I just wanted to share with everybody some of the herbs that can be used to help align your root chakra. I'm obviously not gonna provide the background information, and I really like people to almost do their research. You don't want to be consuming something that you may be allergic to. So some of these herbs we have discussed in the past. Please do go back to some of our sessions. They're available on our YouTube channel as well as on our Facebook page. So it's the ginger, cinnamon, as well as nettle. Those are the three ones that I'm just going to share with you today in terms of the herbs that will help you align your. It's a plant. Nettle is like and it's so abundant here in South Africa. As no, it's not.
Is it the same as blackjack? No.
It's not. It's not. It looks like mint, but not mint. I don't.
It tastes like mint?
It looks like mint, but it's not mint.
So I'm sorry to put you in the spot. How do you use nettle?
So you can make a tea out of it. You can make a tea out of it. You like basically all the herbs that what's this for aligning your root chakra. You can either make a tea, an essential oil out of it, and they're just good as that. They are, some of them are not consumable, but the ones that I've just mentioned, they are you can consume them. And the nice part about these herbs, they also help heal other ailments, you know, within your body. Like let's say, for instance, your cinnamon. You know, cinnamon is very good in terms of your lower abdomen ailments. I don't know if I'm even saying that correctly. Your lower abdomen ailments. So it's really
abdominal
detoxing your pancreas, your kidneys, and yeah.
Okay.
Just while Nkosi was speaking about herbs, another great essential oil to use is patchouli, which is Geb's scent, and you can get that from Discam. Trix has them. Patchouli, and you can also use it as an incense to burn around the house. And how you can also use the patchouli is that put it on all your main points, like, you know, all the main points, just rub a little bit, mix it with a little bit of like sweet almond oil or coconut oil, whichever one that you prefer, and then use maybe 3 drops or 5 drops in that mixture. And then you can just put it all over your body. I just normally use it in my body butter, so I'll add the drops of patchouli, or you can just mix that with your carrier oil, with the essential oil, and just put it around your body. It's also going to help you ground. It's also going to help you feel more stable and calmer. And then to also add quickly, just crystals. The black crystals are great for the root chakra. So that's your shungite, black tourmaline, your obsidian, your hematite. You can also use bloodstone, which is a good grounding, rooting. And I mean, on top of all of that, it's also about really giving yourself time to reflect, time for stillness. That's the best thing for your grounding.
I'm taking notes.
And I actually just found out that, you know, you can actually place these crystals right at the tail of your spinal cord. You know, it's very awkward trying to put the stone there yourself, but and also having to maintain that position that the stone actually remains there, because you'd actually have to lie flat, you know.
Yes, lying flat makes it easier. Yes.
Basically, mkolo
in your tailbone, you know. Yeah, so it's very nice. It's very helpful actually facing that thing there. You know, Mkulu, I just wanted you to touch on something very, very significant, because we can speak about the herbs, we can speak about the crystals, but if we haven't really done the actual physical work, which is one of the causes of misaligned, when you want to step in, when you want to ground yourself, you know, is actually confronting yourself, you know, and part of confronting yourself is actually dealing with your past traumas and actually dealing with yourself and I want to say shadow self at the same time, and being honest with your true self, because it's almost like you have to be very honest. What are some of the tips, you know, that you have in terms of dealing with some of that? We can start with trauma and then ourselves, you know, with true self.
You know, when you it's interesting that you should mention the shadow self. You know, in my yoga practice, let me start it like this before I just speak about yoga. This thing of ritual is very important. So in the morning, I wake up and I greet the sun. It's something that I'm trying to get my children to get used to also, especially when they're waking up for school. They mustn't wake up and just jump in the bath or wake up and do something else. They like to wake up and jump on the bed. But usually it's when Maseko me. So because I wake up before everybody. But in the morning, I've made it a ritual in the house that we go outside and greet Mr. Sun. We just call him Mr. Sun. So in the process of greeting Mr. Sun, sometimes I just play with them and just say, you know, Mr. Heru or Mr. So that they can get used to the terms. So Ekoseni, when you speak about the shadow self, the sun is, the shadow would not be there without the sun, right? So that light coming from Nut, coming from the belly of Nut. Remember in the story that the sun is traveling in the body of Nut, and Ukeb is sitting, looking up at the sun traveling over him in the body of Nut, creating shadows, and the shadows move. They move around you. This is it's a kosakoles, and your shadows basically are around like that, right? So in the morning, when you do that, perform that ritual of greeting the sun, it's important to acknowledge what is going on around. Whether it's a dusky day or a day full of clouds, whatever. The quality of your shadow and the presence of your shadow, it's important to get young people, especially, even yourself, conscious of where is your shadow at 5:30? Where is your shadow at 6? Where is your shadow at 7? Because it's something, is the things that we do not pay attention to that are the things. They say little things mean a lot. Those little things are our learnings. Beyond the books are very good, but nature teaches us just by observing our shadow. We can know what time it is. Oh, I know, definitely. When my shadow is here, I'm talking about the shadow, the physical shadow, right? But now there's also the shadow self now. It's okay, the shadow self may always be with me, but I can also, since I cannot ignore it, I must deal with it. I must know what is it teaching me. So that's got to do with you being in your shadow self and embracing it as a learning curve, not as something to hold on to and grasp onto, because you can't do anything really with your shadow. What can you do with your shadow that is practical? But learn from it. Yeah, so the only thing you can do is learn from it. You learn time from it. You learn your position from it. You learn the position of the sun from it. And you also learn what is happening around you. You're using this thing called peripheral or environmental learning. So that's all you can do with your shadow. Don't grasp with it. Don't be like, but you know, I got hurt. Yeah, you got hurt. You got a scar, but your scar reminds you, it's okay. Next time, you can avoid certain conditions, you know, if you can try and avoid them.
would you say in the same way that the shadow, the physical shadow, defines time or tells us when we are, the spiritual shadow also tells you when we are, you know, in terms of in relations to oneself, you know?
You said it, when we are, you know, but Angithi also tells us what we are. The dead don't have shadows, the ones who are lying down, but they are said to be in the shadow world. As much as they don't possess shadows because they are not under the sun, they are under the ground. They are entities that we learn from. You cannot affect the world of the dead while you are still living, but the world of the dead can affect you, depending on your position, depending on how you are in relation to them, you know. So that's why I was saying I was using the analogy of Gab and Note, the fact that relationship, the beauty of all this African knowledge is that there is absolutely no divine being who does not have a counterpoint. Everyone, it has to be balanced. There is no Gab without Note. And what is Note without Gab? It's just basically, I won't even say a shadow, it's a figment, but of whose imagination? Because without Gab, there's, I think it was one of you said, umuntu, isiqu somuntu, Gab, I think it was you, Xaba, saying it's Gab is isiqu somuntu. It is the body of the person's body is represented there. So without, there's always this reflection. With Baba Buntu, we spoke about in our first Gab session. With Baba Buntu, he spoke about that human beings are, African people especially, are relational beings. You don't exist by yourself. You exist because you are relating to the feminine, and the feminine is relating to the masculine.
Umuntu ngumuntu ngabantu. Xaba, do you want to add?
Yes, no, I actually love that analogy that Menzi was actually sharing about how the sun actually gives you the shadow, I think, and that duality. And I think we try so hard now with everybody in terms of the healing space, about no, eradicate your shadow, but it's not about that. It's about understanding what it's saying to you and learning from it, and that duality of coexisting. Even with, when we speak about all the nettles, it's not that, oh, there's so many principles. It's really about they all talk to each other and they are all interconnected. As you are in your human body, you have your head can't go by itself. It goes with your chest, it goes with your stomach, it goes with your legs. That is exactly what this is. These 12 seasons are our entire being. And therefore we need to be sure that we tap into each and every part of it.
In the same way that our energy points are also interrelated, as we mentioned a bit earlier, that you cannot start doing sacral work if you haven't done your root work, your root chakra work. Okay.
And just to touch on that root chakra. Oh, sorry, just to touch on that root chakra, just to give people a bit of a guidance of where they can start. For me, when I think about root chakra, I just think about understanding your ancestors. So understand Isbongo Sagini, understand understand what spirits also are prevalent in you. Do you have mountain? Do you have water spirits? You know, so that's what, for me, how I make sure that I tap into my root chakra, is making sure that I tend to my ancestors and I'm aware about also what I need to do and have better connection and understanding on that.
It's interesting, the word that you use, that you tend to your ancestors. You know, the turn of phrase is quite important. I'm tempted to ask you how does that work for you, but maybe not today.
Well,
not today.
Give a brief explanation. Can give a brief explanation.
To tend to your ancestors on a daily basis, what kind of ritual?
So basically, for me, but I'm big on affirmations, so I will affirm and say who I am, when I wake up. I think it's the whole thing of like, okay, I'm not dead. So I need to say my name. So I'll say my full name, Itharazelo Zagiti, and I'll have a short prayer of being thankful to God and my ancestors for having risen. And then it will then depend on different cycles that happen. But on a conscious basis, I can't really actually tell in terms of time frame, in a day, in a week, in a month, what it is. But I'm always very conscious about making sure that when I feel like I'm getting a little bit unstable, that's the first point that I reach out to. And it might look different for everybody. I don't want to prescribe anything because then somebody's going to rush out and want to do what I do. But it's about prayer. It's about meditation. It's about always inviting your ancestors back into your life and into your space. I hope that was brief enough.
Yeah. We have 3 minutes left, beloveds. Any parting words?
Yes, 3 minutes.
Yes.
Parting words. You start.
For me, I think I found what Xaba just said very, very profound. The fact that you wake up in the morning and you remind yourself of who you are, you know. It might sound silly, you know, when you think about it, but when you don't know who you are, people can easily tell you who you are, and you will believe that. And however, when you own that aspect about yourself, you get to define and you get to tell your own story about who you are. And for me, I found that very, very profound. And in this time, in terms of gap the season, it's very important to almost look at your indabuko yakho. Where do you come from? Understand that about yourself, you know, and also where you fit in that environment, because it's all fair and well understanding your ancestors and where you come from, but you almost need to know where does Nelly fit in all of this, you know? Yeah.
Beautiful. And with that, we like to give thanks for the opportunity, and we like to also send our condolences to umndeni wakamageba, the royal family of the Zulu nation, for the passing ukukhothama kweNkosi uhlanga lomhlabathi, the great King Zwelithini kaBhekuzulu. We as Ikhambi send our condolences to the family and to the entire Zulu family. We send him to Amatongo with great love and blessings.
Thank you so much. Yes, thank you so much for that. Menzi, I think it was so important that we all acknowledge it. And parting words for me is that really remain in your body, remain in your spirit, and always have a check-in with God, your ancestors, and yourself in terms of where you are, and use the energies to your advantage in everything that you do, and flow with grace. Flow with grace.
Flow with grace.
With that being said, love and light, beloved, we will have another session. Our next session will be in the season of Oset, the divine.
Which date?
The mother.
Which date?
The 28th. Yeah.
28th March.
Yes, 28th of March. So yes.
28th of March.
Thank you so much to everybody for watching. Please do remember to like our follow us on our social pages. It's Ikhambi Natural Healing on all platforms, YouTube, Instagram, as well as Facebook. If you like our videos, they show up more on other people's timelines, and that actually helps spread the knowledge, the wisdom, and it just doesn't become like confined into small pockets, you know. Knowledge shared is wealth shared. Yes. Love and light, beloveds. Come up.